My name is Emily, and this is the story of how I betrayed my best friend. I still remember the look in her eyes. Frozen, broken, betrayed. She stood at the door, staring at us, me and her husband, tangled in a moment we could never take back. I wanted to speak. I wanted to run. But I just sat there, too stunned, too guilty. That was the moment everything fell apart. And I knew there was no going back. I met Claire when I was 20. She was bright, funny, and full of life, the kind of person who could make a room light up just by walking in. We became best friends fast, like it was meant to happen. We shared everything. Our dreams, our fears, even our silly crushes. When Claire met Daniel, I was there too. He was handsome, charming, and kind, the kind of man you dream about but never expect to meet. Claire fell for him hard. I watched her happiness like a proud sister. I thought, she deserves this. She deserves everything good in the world. I never planned to love him. I never planned to destroy her life. But sometimes, love doesn't ask for permission. It sneaks into your heart, slowly, until it's too late to push it away. And that's exactly what happened to me. It started with little things. A look that lasted a second too long. A smile that felt too personal. A laugh shared between just the two of us while Claire was busy in the kitchen. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Daniel was just friendly. I was just lonely. But deep down, I knew it wasn't so simple. One evening, Claire invited me over for dinner. She was running late, still fixing things upstairs. Daniel and I sat alone at the dining table, awkwardly sipping our drinks. I remember how his eyes met mine. How the air between us changed, heavy electric. We talked about silly things, books, movies, old memories, but there was something else hidden under the words. Something dangerous. Something thrilling. When Claire finally came downstairs, smiling and unaware, I felt a sharp sting of guilt. But it was already too late. The seed had been planted, and somewhere inside, a small, terrible part of me wanted it to grow. It didn't happen all at once. It was slow, like water dripping on stone, shaping something we both tried to deny. A week later, Claire asked me to help her organize a surprise party for Daniel's birthday. I spent hours at their house, planning, decorating, laughing with her. And every time Claire left the room, Daniel and I would exchange quick glances, full of things we couldn't say out loud. That night, after the guests had left and Claire had gone upstairs early, too tired from the day, Daniel offered to drive me home. It was raining, the kind of soft, endless rain that blurs the world outside the windows. We sat in his car outside my apartment, neither of us moving. The radio played some old, sad love song. And then it happened. He leaned in, slowly, carefully, like he was giving me time to stop him. But I didn't. I closed the space between us. The kiss was soft at first, almost questioning. But when I didn't pull away, it deepened, became something hungry, something desperate. When we finally broke apart, breathing hard, he whispered, "I'm sorry. I can't. I shouldn't." I wanted to say the same, but my heart was pounding too loud for any words to come out. That night, I realized we had crossed a line we could never uncross. And there was no turning back. After that night, we both tried to pretend it never happened, tried to be normal, tried to be good, but pretending got harder every day. It started with small excuses. Daniel would message me when Claire wasn't around, just, how are you? Or thinking about you. I would find reasons to visit their house more often, helping Claire with errands, dropping off little things she had forgotten. Every touch became longer, every glance heavier. One afternoon, when Claire went out shopping, Daniel and I found ourselves alone again. I was helping him fix a shelf in the living room, or at least pretending to. I dropped a screw. He bent down at the same time I did. Our faces were so close. Neither of us moved. I could feel his breath on my lips. And then, without thinking, he pulled me to him. The kiss was urgent, needy, reckless. We didn't stop. Not this time. Somewhere deep inside, I knew this was wrong. I knew this would hurt Claire more than anything else in the world. But in that moment, all I felt was the heat of his touch, the way his hands gripped my waist, the way his mouth claimed mine like he'd been starving. The world outside disappeared. It was just him and me, lost in something too big to fight. When it was over, we sat there in silence, both of us breathing hard, hearts racing. He looked at me, eyes dark and full of regret. This can't happen again, he said. I nodded. But deep down, we both knew we were lying. Because once you taste forbidden fruit, you always come back for more. We started meeting in secret. At first, it was quick, stolen kisses in dark corners, whispered promises when no one was around. But soon it wasn't enough. Daniel booked a small room in a hotel outside town. Nothing fancy, just a place where no one knew us, where we could be together without pretending. The first time we met there, I was shaking. From excitement, from fear. When I walked into the room, he was already there, sitting on the edge of the bed, his head in his hands. He looked up when he heard me. For a moment, we just stared at each other. No words, no excuses. He stood up and crossed the room in 2 quick steps. The way he kissed me, it was nothing like before. It was desperate, hungry, like he needed me to breathe. Clothes fell to the floor without thought. Hands explored familiar places with new urgency. We lost ourselves in each other, forgetting everything except the way our bodies fit together, the way we made each other feel alive. Afterward, we lay tangled in the sheets, listening to the rain tapping softly against the window. He traced circles on my bare shoulder with his fingers and whispered, "I don't want to lose you." I closed my eyes, pretending not to hear the fear in his voice. Because deep down, I knew we were already standing on the edge of a cliff. One wrong step, and everything would crash. At first, Claire didn't notice anything. Or maybe she didn't want to. She still smiled the same way, still laughed at Daniel's jokes, still hugged me tightly every time we met. But slowly, very slowly, little things started to change. One afternoon, as we sat together drinking coffee, Claire looked at me with a strange expression. "You've been different lately," she said, stirring her cup absent-mindedly. I forced a laugh. "Different how?" She shrugged. "I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm imagining things." I smiled, pretending everything was fine. But inside, my heart was pounding so loud I was sure she could hear it. Another time, she caught Daniel looking at me across the dinner table. A look that lasted just a second too long. Her eyes narrowed just a little, but she said nothing. The real crack came one evening when we all planned a small movie night at her house. As Daniel and I sat too close on the couch, our knees brushing under the blanket, Claire went to the kitchen to get popcorn. I thought we were safe, but when she returned, she stood at the doorway for a moment, watching us. Her face was unreadable. She didn't say a word. She just handed us the popcorn, smiled tightly, and sat down, keeping a little more distance between herself and Daniel than usual. That night, when I left, I felt it. The shift, the invisible wall growing between us. Claire wasn't sure yet, but she had started to feel it, and I knew. It was only a matter of time before she found the truth we were so desperately trying to hide. Daniel called me one evening. His voice was tight, nervous. "Claire knows something," he said. "She hasn't said it out loud, but she feels it. She asked me to stay away from you." I sat there, silent, the phone trembling in my hand. "Maybe we should stop," he added, almost whispering. "For her. For us." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. Stop? Walk away? The thought of losing him, losing the fire he lit inside me, was unbearable. "No," I said firmly. "I can't." "Emily." His voice broke a little. "This isn't right." I closed my eyes, feeling the memories of his touch all over me, the way he made me feel alive, wanted, needed. "No one else makes me feel the way you do," I whispered. "I don't care if it's wrong. I don't care if she knows. I can't lose you." There was a long silence. Then he sighed. "I'll find a way," he said. "I'll come to you." And just like that, we made the choice again. A darker, more dangerous choice. A choice that would destroy everything. But in that moment, all I wanted was him. No matter the cost. Claire wasn't stupid. She started noticing things. Small things. I didn't visit her as often anymore. When I did, I was nervous, always checking the time, always finding reasons to leave early. Daniel, too, changed. He started working late more often, spending hours outside the house with no real explanations. Claire would catch him checking his phone secretly, turning the screen away whenever she walked into the room. One evening, she found Daniel sitting in the backyard, texting someone, a small frown on his face. When she called his name, he jumped like he had been caught doing something wrong. She didn't say anything. She just smiled and walked back inside. But inside her mind, pieces were clicking together. She remembered how Daniel used to light up when Emily was around. How he would laugh a little louder, lean in a little closer. How Emily's smile would falter whenever Claire mentioned Daniel. She started to watch us, quietly, carefully, not accusing, not confronting, just watching. The distance between me and Claire grew wider every day. The conversations became shorter, the silences longer. And yet, I still couldn't stop. The thrill of Daniel's touch, the secret fire between us, it was too strong. Even as I felt Claire slipping away from me, I kept falling deeper. I was playing a dangerous game, and I knew the ending would not be kind. Claire played her part perfectly. One Friday morning, she told Daniel she had to visit her mother out of town, an unexpected trip for the weekend. Daniel looked surprised at first, but then smiled, trying to hide it. Maybe he thought it was a gift, a free pass. Claire kissed him goodbye at the door, packed a small suitcase and drove away. Or at least, that's what she made him believe. In reality, she parked her car 2 streets away and walked back quietly. She had hidden a spare key in the garden years ago, just in case. From the dark corner of the living room, hidden behind heavy curtains, Claire waited. Hours passed. The house stayed silent. Then, around sunset, she heard the doorbell ring. Her heart pounded as Daniel rushed to open it. It was me, Emily. I stepped inside quickly, looking around nervously. Daniel pulled me into his arms without hesitation, kissing me like he had been starving all day. Claire's stomach twisted, but she stayed still, silent, watching. She saw the way Daniel touched me. So familiar, so desperate. She heard the small, breathless laughs we shared, the soft moans escaping between kisses. In that moment, everything she had suspected became real. No more doubts. No more lies. Just the cold, brutal truth. Claire pressed her back against the wall, closing her eyes. And she made a decision. Tonight, she would not stay silent. Tonight, she would end it. We didn't hear her coming. Daniel had just pulled me onto the couch, his hands running at my thighs, his mouth pressed against my neck. I was laughing softly, lost in him, lost in the madness. And then, a voice cut through the room like a knife. Having fun without me? We froze. Daniel's hands stiffened against my body. I turned my head slowly, feeling the blood drain from my face. Claire stood there, just a few feet away. Her suitcase lay forgotten by the door. Her eyes were calm. Too calm. It was a kind of calm that came just before a storm destroyed everything. Claire, Daniel stammered, jumping to his feet, guilt flashing across his face. I stayed frozen on the couch, my heart beating so fast I thought I might faint. Claire's lips curved into a small, bitter smile. I trusted you, she said, her voice low and steady. I trusted both of you. Daniel moved towards her. It's not what it looks like. She laughed, a sharp, broken sound. Not what it looks like. Should I believe my lying eyes then? I stood up, finally, my legs trembling. Claire, please, I began, but I didn't even know what I was begging for. Forgiveness? Understanding? There was no way to undo this. Claire shook her head slowly. You could have had anyone, Emily, she said, her voice cracking. But you chose him. My husband. Her words hit harder than any slap. Daniel looked like he wanted to say something. Anything. But he couldn't find the words. The silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Finally, Claire turned away. I hope it was worth it, she said softly. I hope every secret touch, every stolen kiss, was worth losing me forever. And with that, she walked out of the house, the door slamming behind her like the final nail in a coffin. We stood there, broken, guilty, and more alone than we had ever been. Because some betrayals, you can't fix, no matter how much you wish you could.